Hello and welcome back to ISpeakSpokeSpoken English. And today we are looking at some essential verbs. Whoa, some essential verbs in English. So yeah, sorry for the 10-minute delay. I know that there is a bit of a delay on this lesson today. But as always, there's some technical difficulties, as happens when you work with technical things, but we will try our best to get those to minimize those from now on. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for joining today. I'm going to wait for a couple more people to get here. I'm sure that in the next few minutes, when YouTube tells everybody that we are live, we will get some people in. Yeah, and not just YouTube. We have some people from Facebook. We have people from many different places actually. So yes, if you are here already, please let me know how your week has been and what the weather is like in your country, as it is a nice little thing that we do at the start of the lessons. It's nice as, I mean, I don't know about other places, but in England, we love to speak about the weather. It is like one of our favorite small talk topics of small talk. So yeah, that is what we like to talk about. At the moment in England, the sky is it's kind of white, just like gray skies, you know. So it was really raining yesterday, and I think it's going to start getting a little bit colder now. But you know what? I know I'm always waiting for the sun and always waiting for the summer, but there is something about the autumn and the winter that is really nice for good fashion, and you can wear nice. Um, oh, I've just eaten a lot before this lesson, so I'm probably going to be doing that a lot at the moment. But yeah, good fashion. You can wear nice jackets and things like this. So actually, that's one thing that I really look forward to for the winter, and obviously Christmas and all of those nice celebrations. So yes, there are good things in terms of the winter and all of those months as well. But yes, we will wait for a few people to get here and then we will carry on. So, yes, if you're here, let me know how you are. It's been a pretty cool week. I mean, as I said, it was nice and sunny at the start of the week, but then as it got a bit later, it started to really rain. Like yesterday, it got to a point where it looked like it was evening when it was midday, and then immediately started to pour down with rain. Oh, we're getting some more people here. So, yes, if you haven't heard, we're talking about the weather again. And I'm saying about how it's getting a little bit cooler in England. I know that our last lesson was it? I think it was Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. So it wasn't that long ago. But yes, let me know how the weather is in your countries now. While I'm waiting for any comments, I will upload the presentation actually. Here we go. Um, it's in here. 1 second. Once again, dealing with some technology. There we are. Voila. Perfect. 1 second, and it will be here. It's quite a long one today, guys. I think it's 9 slides, but we will go through them pretty rapidly. I mean, it's like we're looking at some verbs. So all it will take is really talking about it, saying what the verb means, and then maybe giving some examples. So it's not going to be a 2 hour lesson. It probably 40 minutes to an hour. So it will be a good one. It's 13 slides actually, and yeah, we'll kind of go through the verbs. We'll have a look at them, and I will tell you what they mean and give an example. Hello, Michelle. I'm glad you're doing well, and the weather's grey. And yeah, it's the same as in England actually. Hi, Uzum. Welcome back. Hello. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad to hear it. So yeah, let's get right into it, guys. And I'm going to start on these verbs. So, number one, we have the verb to achieve. And I will tell you guys, if you would like to, and this is by no means something I'm telling you to do, but if you would like to, as we go, you can write your own examples of sentences with these verbs. So I won't be waiting for them. I will read them out as we go. But as we go through each one, I would like you to, if you'd like, to to write your own examples using these verbs too. Okay, so here we go. So number one, we have to achieve. To achieve something is when you have set yourself a goal or you've been trying to do something and then you've succeeded. You've completed doing that thing, you've achieved it. So the verb is used to describe reaching a goal or completing something successfully. Exactly. So an example here is she worked hard to achieve her dreams. She wanted to complete the dreams. She wanted to make them a reality. Okay, so or you could say an example sentence that I will make before you guys make your own is he achieved a first in his uni assignment. You see, so he succeeded in getting a first. You see, okay. Number two, to acknowledge. To acknowledge. So to acknowledge means to accept or admit the existence or truth of something. So he acknowledged the mistake he made. So he made, maybe before he was kind of ignoring it, he didn't want to admit it, but now he accepts and admits the fact that it happened. He acknowledges it. Hello, Albert. Happy to follow you from Burundi. The weather is nice at the moment. It's summer period from June up to September. Oh, lovely. I'm glad that the weather's nice for you. I hope that it carries on being nice, and not like England is doing right now, where it's getting colder. But yes, I hope you're doing well, Albert. Today we're looking at some essential verbs in English, so I hope that you enjoy this and put in any comments of questions or any statements that you have down in the comments, and I will get back to you about those. Okay, so number three. Oh no, I didn't give my example of to acknowledge. So he acknowledged the talent of his student. So he acknowledged how talented his student was. So he kind of admitted the fact that his student is talented, even though maybe he wouldn't have liked to. Okay. Number three, to adapt. So to adapt means to change something to suit a new environment or condition. So they had to adapt to the new climate very quickly. So maybe someone who is from Antarctica moves to Australia and they have a very different climate there. So they're going to have to change their way of living basically to adapt, to change, to be able to live in such a place that is so different. So that is what adapting is. An example sentence that I can think of is maybe in a job interview. Oh, I'm very good at adapting in different scenarios or in multiple situations. I can adapt, which is a good quality to have. Number four, we have to appreciate. So the verb is used to express gratitude or recognize the value of something. So I appreciate all the help with the project. So it's basically you're saying I thank you. So you can swap out I thank you with I appreciate. To appreciate could also mean that something goes up. So I mean in terms of like money or stocks. So a stock could appreciate, it could go up. And that is the value going up, you see. So I will give my example here. Remember, guys, if you want to put any of your example sentences in the comments, please feel free to do so. So I appreciate the fact that you guys come to each class and really and participate well. I appreciate that. Okay, we have number five, to assume. So to assume means to take something for granted without proof. So she assumed she was coming to the party. So basically, it's like she wasn't invited to the party. Like there was no proof of her going to the party. No, no. So maybe someone's invited another person to this party. Maybe you've invited someone, and they haven't told you that they're going to come yet, but you assume you think that they're going to come without any proof. They haven't said they're going to come, so you're assuming that. You're assuming something without proof. There we go. To avoid. To avoid means that you are trying to stay away from something, basically. So he tried to avoid making the same mistake twice. He wanted to stay away from that mistake. He wanted to stop himself from making that same mistake again. And if you've been here for a while and been to these classes, you will know about our red words. We're going to do it in a interesting way today. So we have 13 slides. So what we'll do is we'll do about 6 slides, and then we'll go through the red words, and then do I think 7 more slides, and then we'll go through those red words. So I think that's the best way of doing it this time, as we only have 3 words in each. So there's no point in kind of sitting there and doing 3 at a time, you see. So we have number 7 here, which is to compare. So comparing means to take 2 things. Oh, 1 second. So comparing means to examine the similarities and differences between 2 or more things. So you're taking 2 things and or more things, and you're comparing the differences and the similarities of those things. So she compared the 2 essays before choosing the better one. So she's looking at 2 essays that maybe she's written, and she wants to choose the one that she thinks is best. Okay, number 8, to consider. So the verb to consider means to think carefully about something before making a decision. So an example here would be they are considering moving to a new city. They are thinking about this thing very carefully because they don't want to make the wrong move. Number 9, to convince. So to convince is to persuade someone to do something or like to believe something. So he convinced his friends to join him on the trip. So you are trying to change their mind to think something that you want them to think. That would be more advantageous to yourself. Okay, number 10, we have to define. So I am defining all of these words right now. So to define means to explain the meaning of a word or a concept. So an example here would be, can you define what success means to you? Can you explain the meaning of that? 1 second. Pardon me. There we go. So yeah, so you're explaining that. Number 11, to demonstrate. So to demonstrate means to show or explain how something works and how it's done. So the example here would be, the teacher demonstrated the experiment to the class. So the key word here is to show. Because I mean, to demonstrate is more of a showing thing. You would explain something if you were talking about it, but if you're showing them how to do it physically, like so say if you are showing, maybe a science teacher is showing a science experiment. To explain it would be to tell them the theory behind it, but to demonstrate it would actually be to do the science experiment there. So that is the main difference between to demonstrate and to explain. So the example here is a teacher demonstrated the experiment to the class, you see. To determine. So the verb to determine means to make a decision based on evidence or facts. So they've looked at all of the facts and all the evidence, and they've made a decision based on this. So an example here would be they determined the best course of action after the meeting. So they talked about all of the facts and all of the evidence, and in the end decided on the best thing to do. Number 13, we have to develop. So oh, sorry, let me put my phone on silent. There we go. So to develop is used if something grows or improves over time. So an example here would be, she developed a new skill in her free time. So she improved, she grew that new skill in her free time. Number 14, to distinguish. So this means to recognize the difference between two or more things. So can you distinguish between these two colors? So maybe you're showing people two colors that are very similar and you want to see if they can tell the difference. Number 15, to emphasize. So to emphasize means to give special importance or attention to something. So he emphasized the need for punctuality in the workplace. But like almost if you were writing a exclamation mark, you were emphasizing what you were saying. You were showing the special importance of that part. So he emphasized the need for punctuality in the workplace. Number 16, to encounter. So the verb to encounter is used when you meet someone or come across something unexpectedly. So they encountered many challenges during the project. They didn't expect to encounter those challenges, but they did. So they encountered it. Number 17. I understand that I'm going quite fast through these, but that's because we have 13 slides. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'd be very happy to explain anything that you aren't getting. But if you want and aren't able to follow along with this, you're able to either go back to the start afterwards and look through it again, or you can press the slow icon as well on YouTube as well, which means that you can watch it a bit slower as well. You can change the speed. Okay, so to establish means to set up or create something on a firm or permanent basis. So the company was established in 1990, so it was created on a permanent basis, you see. Number 18, we have to examine. So the verb is used when you want to inspect or study something carefully. So the doctor examined the patient thoroughly. He studied the patient. He wanted to make sure that he was okay. So he made sure that he he thoroughly examined him to make sure there was nothing else that he needed to work on, you see. So let's now go back through our red words here. So we have number 1, which is achieve. Repeat after me. Achieve. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Adapt. Notice how I don't say adapt, I say adapt. That's the sound. Adapt. Appreciate. Once again, it's not appreciate, So in English, we make a lot of these almost lazy sounds. So when we're making our R sound, it's not R like Americans, it's R, which almost sounds lazy if you think about it. So actually, when you're speaking British English, a lot of the time, what you need to do, I mean, you can be too lazy with it, but to actually get that British sound, we don't really move our tongues a lot. So, no, I mean, like we do, but like in certain ways. So we don't move it as much when we're using the R sound or we're kind of, we keep our mouths quite still a lot of the time. And we kind of make a lot of these lazy sounds, if you know what I mean. Appreciate, not appreciate. And do we have any R's? I mean, let me think. Car, not car. So we actually stop a bit earlier. So the verb is used to express, so appreciate. Assume. Avoid. Once again. Compare. Compare. Consider. Consider. Convince. Convince. Great. Define. Define. Demonstrate. Demonstrate. Determine. Determine. Develop. Distinguish. Distinguish. Emphasize. Notice here how it's not emphasize, it's f. So the ph makes a f sound. Emphasize. Great. Number 16, to encounter. Oh, sorry, guys. Lots of speaking. Encounter. Establish. Notice again, we're not saying establish, establish. And here, examine. Is a different one here because just different words, depending on what's next to it, we use different ways of, we have different ways of saying these things. So establish, establish, examine. Okay, let's move on with the examples and explanations, shall we? So number 19, we have to expand. So expand means for something to increase in size and to get bigger in either size, number, or importance. So the company plans to expand its operations overseas. They plan to become bigger overseas. Number 20, to experience. So the verb means to go through life, to go through or live through something. So in life, you have many different experiences depending on what it is that you do and what you go through in life, what happens in your life, and those are your experiences. So, for example, she experienced a lot of joy through her travels. Number 21, to express. So, to express is used when you want to when you want to convey a thought or feeling in words or actions. So, you want to express something that you're thinking or feeling. So, an example would be he expressed his gratitude in a heartfelt letter. He expressed that, he conveyed it, he said it through his feelings and words. So number 22, to identify. So to identify means to recognize or establish what something is. So can you identify the main idea of the text? So can you recognize what the main idea is? Can you establish what that is? Number 23, we have to illustrate. So to illustrate means to explain or clarify something by giving examples. So she illustrated her point with several anecdotes. So an anecdote means a story, and to illustrate can also be used as, you know, when you're reading a book and there are drawings in the book, those things are called illustrations because those are explaining in photo forms or in picture forms what is going on in the text. So it's giving examples if you think about it. So you can also illustrate something through speaking. Okay, next up we have number 24, which is to implement. To implement. So the verb means to put a plan or decision into effect. So you're doing something, you're putting something into effect. So if an example here would be the new policy will be implemented next month. The new policy will be implemented next month. So you'll put it into action next month. Number 25, we have to improve. So to improve means for something to get better. So he took lessons to improve his English skills. Number 26, to include. To include means that you're, well, it's used when something is part of a whole. You're including something in that whole. It is part of something. So, for example, the price included breakfast and free Wi-Fi. So within that one price, you got breakfast and free Wi-Fi and the place that you're staying. So yes. So next up, we have to influence. So to influence is to have an effect on someone's behavior or decisions. Jeez. Her advice influenced my final decision. So it had an effect on the final decision. You see? To inform. So to inform means to give someone information. So She informed him about the changes in the schedule. She told him about that. She gave him the information about that. Number 29, to interpret. So to interpret means to explain the meaning of something. So he interpreted the poem in a way that resonated with everyone. He explained that. He explained the poem, and everyone resonated with that. Number 30 is to investigate. So to investigate something is when you're looking into something carefully to discover the truth. So the police are investigating the cause of the accident. So they're looking into it to discover what actually happened. You see? 31, we have to justify. So to justify something means to show or prove that something is right or reasonable. So you're justifying that it's good, basically. So he justified his actions by explaining the circumstances. He was trying to tell people that what he did wasn't bad. It was like he's explaining to them the reason for what he did, and he's justifying it. Number 32, to maintain. So the verb means to keep something in a good condition. Jeez. They maintain the old building beautifully. So you can maintain an old building. You can maintain your body by going to the gym. You can maintain anything by keeping it in a good condition. Number 33, to negotiate. So to negotiate is used when you try to reach an agreement through discussion. So you're trying to talk about something until you have an agreement, basically. So they negotiated a fair deal for both parties. So they had a conversation until they had agreed on a deal that was fair for both people. Number 34, we have to observe. So to observe something means to watch something carefully and notice things. So to watch or notice something carefully. So an example here would be she observed the birds through her binoculars. So she watched them very carefully and maybe took some notes, maybe drew them, and was very detailed in her in what she got from from her observations. Is what we call the noun for this verb. 35, we have to obtain. To obtain. So to obtain means to get something. So especially through effort. So he obtained a visa to study abroad. He got that thing. He got the visa. 36, we have to predict. So this verb is used when someone tries to guess what is going to happen in the future based on current information. So a good prediction would be based on, okay, so it has rained for the last 100 days, so I will predict that it will rain tomorrow as well, because there is a high chance that if it has rained within the last 100 days, that it will rain again tomorrow. So you are trying to so when you say what happens in the future based on current information. So experts predict a rise in temperatures over the next few decades, or over the next decade. So there's data to show the fact that that trend should keep going up. Next up, we have number 37, which is to recommend. So to recommend is to suggest something as a good choice. You're telling people that they should go with that choice. I recommend trying the new restaurant downtown. So you've been there, you liked it, and you've decided to tell someone else that it would be a good fit for them as well and that they would enjoy it too. So you're recommending that place to them as well. All right, so let's now go back through our last few red words here, starting on page 7. As I said, I know that we have run through this one. Like we have, like we've powered through these slides today. But if you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and I'll try and get back to them now. Or if not, if you put them afterwards, we will get back to you in the comments as well. So number 19, we have to expand. Number 20, to experience. Expand. experience. Keep repeating, guys. Express, express. Identify, identify. Illustrate, illustrate. Implement, improve, improve. Include, include. Influence, influence. Inform, inform. Interpret, interpret. Investigate, investigate. Justify, justify. Maintain, maintain. Negotiate, negotiate. Observe, observe. Obtain, obtain. Predict, predict. Practice that pr sound because that's one that comes up a lot in English. Predict. Recommend, recommend. Okay, so before we go, I will do one last read through of each one. So to achieve, meaning to achieve a goal, you're reaching a goal. To acknowledge, meaning to accept the existence of something. To adapt, meaning to change something to suit a new environment or condition. To appreciate means to show gratitude or recognize the value of something. To assume, meaning to take something for granted without proof. To avoid, meaning to stay away from something. To compare means to take two things and look at the similarities and differences. To consider, meaning to think carefully about something before making a decision. To convince means to try and persuade someone. To define means to explain the meaning of something. To demonstrate means to show how something is done. To determine means to make a decision based on evidence or facts. To develop means to is used when something grows over time. Yeah, it's developing. To distinguish means to recognize the difference between two more or more things. To emphasize means to show the importance of a certain thing. To encounter means to see or like to come across something unexpectedly. To establish means to create something that is firm or permanent. To examine means to inspect or study something carefully. To expand means for something to get bigger. To experience means to have lived through things, to have experiences. To express means to convey a thought or feeling in words or actions. To identify means to recognize or establish what something is. To illustrate means to explain or clarify something by giving examples. To implement, to put a plan or decision into effect. To improve means for something to get better. To include when something is part of a whole. To influence, for something to have an effect on someone's behavior or decisions. To inform means to give someone information. To interpret means to explain the meaning of something. Okay. To investigate means to look into something carefully to discover the truth. To justify means to show or prove that something is right or reasonable. To maintain means to keep something in good condition. To negotiate means to negotiate an agreement through discussion. To come to an agreement, you see. To observe means to notice something carefully. You are watching something very, very carefully, like here we have with the birds through the binoculars. To obtain is to get something, especially through effort. To predict means to make an informed guess. To recommend means to suggest someone something that you believe is a good choice. All right, guys. Well, Uzum, I appreciate you guys as well for coming to these lessons and for working hard and choosing to improve your English and to spend the time here in these lessons. As it really is great that you guys come here and you participate in the comments, and I really, really am grateful for that. So yes, thank you for being here again. I look forward to seeing you all again. And yeah, let's. It's been a good one. I hope that it helped. Any questions or comments that you might have, please put them in the comments below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe to not miss a video. And I've been James. We've been I Speak Spoke Spoken English, and joyfully